How's it going? So we are going to be looking at solving systems of linear equations using the substitution method today. Make sure that if you want to get any more help, you follow me on Twitter or go to the bit.ly for more links. So our very first step is to solve one of the equations for either x or for y. You want to get x equals to whatever, y equals to whatever. It will not equal a number yet. You then take that variable that you just solved for, so the x or the y, and substitute it into the other equation. So you're going to take your x equals, say, 3y plus 2, and put that in for x. Once you substitute that in, and make sure you use parentheses to show that you're going to be using the distributive property, you will solve that equation for a number. So x will equal a number, or y will equal a number. That's step 3. Once you get that, you go to step 4, which is substitute and solve. We call sub and solve. Substitute the come say hi, hurry up.
Hi.
Substitute the number into one of the original equations. So if you have x equals 4, go back to one of the originals, solve it, get your other one. You will then have your order pair and your solution to the system.
So let's look at an example of solving a system of linear equations using the substitution method. Remember that when we're using the substitution method, we want one of our equations to be solved for a variable. In this case, you'll notice that the first equation is already solved for a variable. Y is all by itself, it's isolated, and it equals 6x minus 11. So our next step, remember, is to substitute. So we're going to substitute the value into the other equation. So we're going to look at the second equation, and we are going to replace our y with what y equals, and y equals 6 minus 11. So I'm going to rewrite that equation, and it's going to look like this: negative 2x minus 3, and then in parentheses I'm going to put everything that y equals, and y equals 6x minus 11. And that is all equal to negative 7. Now we see that there is parentheses, a number outside of it, so we need to use the distributive property, and we are going to solve for a number. So when we are all done with this step, the x will be isolated and it will be equal to a number. So let's distribute. We're going to get negative 2x minus 18x plus 33 equal to negative 7. We're going to combine like terms and get negative 20x plus 33 equals negative 7. If we're looking at patterns here, we should recognize that this will be an even number. We are going to get negative 20x equal to negative 40. Divide both sides by that negative 20, and our x will equal positive 2. So now that we have one variable equal to a number, so we have our x coordinate for our order pair, we need just to get our y, so we have our solution. We're going to take what we just found out, the x equals 2, and plug it back into one of the original equations. It doesn't matter, but I'm going to use this first one because it's already solved for y. It'll make my life a whole lot easier. So I'm going to plug in x equals 2, so it's going to be y equals 6, using parentheses for good practice, 2 minus 11, and we're going to get y equals 12 minus 11, y equals 1. Looking at it now, we know that our solution is 2, 1, and we can check it by plugging it back into both of the original equations, making sure it works. And let's just quickly do that. 2 here, it's going to be 6 times 2, that's 12. 6 times 2 is 12, 12 minus 11 is 1. Put a 1 in for y, 1 equals 1. Checks out. Let's check out the other one. So we're going to have negative 2 times 2, which is 4, negative 4. Negative 3 times 1, which is negative 3, equals negative 7. Negative 7 equals negative 7. That checks out also. There's your solution.
Let's take a look at another example of solving by substitution. This one is a little bit more complicated because we have fractions, and we know you guys like to freak out about those, but calm down. So you do it the same way. The first step is to solve for a variable. So let's figure out what variable we want to solve for. Looking at it, if we solve for this first y, we're going to end up dividing a fraction by a fraction. I know you guys don't like that. If we solve for this x, we're also going to do the same thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear out a fraction and then solve. So I'm going to work with equation number 1 first, and I'm going to get rid of this negative 1/2. So I'm going to get rid of this negative 1/2 by multiplying by
negative 2. Actually, I don't even have to multiply by negative 2. I'll just multiply by 2. So I got to multiply the entire equation by 2. So I'm going to get negative 1x plus 6y equals 2. So now I'm going to solve the second equation in red for a variable. I'm going to solve for x because that will be the easiest. I'm going to subtract 6y on both sides. I'm going to get negative x equals 2 minus 6y. Divide by negative 1 on both sides and get x equals negative 2 plus 6y. Now that I have that solved for, I can go to the other equation and substitute it in for x. So I'm going to substitute into the second equation because that's the cleaner one to work with x. So I'm going to rewrite that on the other page. So we're going to take this x and substitute it into the first equation. So I'm going to rewrite. We're going to have 2, and then in parentheses I'm going to put the negative 2 plus 6y because that's what x equals. Minus 1/4 y equals 1. I will now solve for y. Negative 4 plus 12y minus 1/4 y equals 1. I will add 4 on both sides to get rid of this so I can get to the fractions. Got 12y minus 1/4 y equals 5. I'm going to convert this equation into fourths, so I need to turn 12 into a fraction, so I'm going to put it over 1. Got to get it over 4, so I'm going to multiply by 4, so I'm going to get 48 over 4y minus 1 over 4y equals 5, and then I'm going to combine. I'm going to get 47 over 4 equals, I'm going to turn 5 into y. 5, I'm going to multiply by 4. I'm going to get 47y equals 20. Divide by 47. Y equals 20 over 47. I know it's messy, but we will take that and work with it in a minute. So now I need to finish solving for the other variable. I have y equals to a number. It equals 20 over 47. I am going to now substitute that in for this y. So I'm going to get negative 1/2 x plus 3 times 20 over 47 equals 1. Negative 1/2 x plus 60 over 47 is 1. Let's turn that into 47 over 47 to make this easier. Subtract 60 over 47 on both sides. Change colors here for a second. We're going to get negative 1/2 x equals negative 13 over 47. Multiply both sides by negative 2. So I'm going to get x equals 26 over 47. What we need to do now is check our solution. So I am going to get a calculator because these fractions are messy. So yeah, take my word for it. That is our solution. So our order pair is 26 over 47, comma 20 over 47. That is the order pair that makes both equations true. That is the order pair where both of these equations cross. Thank you.